Hi friends, welcome to our channel Ashok IT and this is Ashok. In this video, we are going to understand what is Project Lombok and why we need to learn about this Project Lombok and how to use this Project Lombok in our Java projects development and what annotations available in the Project Lombok and what is the purpose of each Lombok annotation and how to set up this Project Lombok software in our IDEs like Eclipse, Spring Toolsuit and IntelliJ, and what are the pros and cons with this Project Lombok. All these concepts we are going to discuss in this single video. Watch this video till the end to get the complete clarity on Project Lombok. And another important thing, if you are not subscribed to our channel as of now, then please subscribe and click on bell icon to get more updates from Ashok IT. Alright, let's get started. First thing, what is this Project Lombok and why this Project Lombok? The first important thing that we need to understand, this Project Lombok is a free Java library. What is the purpose of this Lombok library? The main purpose of this Lombok library to avoid boilerplate code in the Java projects. Remember, to avoid boilerplate code, guys. So what is the meaning of this boilerplate code? Boilerplate code is nothing but any code which we are writing at multiple places in the same project. The code which we are writing at multiple places, duplicate code or repeated code, we can call as boilerplate code. So to avoid that boilerplate code in the Java classes, we are going to use this Project Lombok. So if you observe, when we are developing a Java project, we are going to create so many POJO classes, entity classes, form binding classes, command classes, DTO classes we are going to develop to represent our data in the form of objects. Let's take one simple example. If you are taking one Java class with 10 variables, okay, there is one POJO class available with 10 variables. Then in that Java class, for these 10 variables, we are going to write setter methods, okay, to set the data for those variables. To get the data from the variables, we are going to write getter methods, and we are going to write toString method to print the data which is available in the object, and we are going to write constructors to initialize the variables, zero param constructor, parameter constructor, and to compare the objects we are going to override equals method, and we are going to override hash code method like this. We are going to write setter methods, getter methods, toString method, constructors, equals method, hash code method, etc. If you are having one Java class, that is okay. We can write this code in that Java class. Suppose if you are having 100 Java classes with these variables, then in 100 Java classes we need to write the setter methods, getter methods, constructors, toString method, equals method, hash code method. If you write this kind of code in 100 Java classes, then that code is called as boilerplate code. So writing boilerplate code is not at all recommended. That's where this Project Lombok comes into picture. If you use this Project Lombok, we can avoid that boilerplate code in the Java project. How can we avoid? Instead of programmer writing that boilerplate code in the Java classes, Lombok is going to generate that code for our classes. I hope you got the clarity. What is Project Lombok and why Project Lombok? Project Lombok is a Java library that is used to avoid boilerplate code. Instead of programmer writing the code, Lombok is going to generate that code. How it is going to generate? For that, Lombok provided some annotations. What annotations available in the Project Lombok? Let's understand now. First annotation, there is a annotation called @setter annotation. Instead of writing the setter method for the variables manually, if you use the setter annotation, Lombok will generate setter methods for all the variables available in the class. And next one, there is a annotation called @getter annotation. What is the purpose of this getter annotation? This getter annotation will generate getter methods for all the variables available in the class. And next one, there is an annotation called @no args constructor is available. What is the purpose of @no args constructor? To generate default constructor for Java class. And the next one, there is an annotation called toString annotation is available. It is used to generate toString method for our Java class. And the next one, there is an annotation called equals and hash code. Equals and hash code annotation is available, which is used to generate equals and hash code method for our Java class. @setter, @getter, no args constructor, toString, equals and hash code. So instead of writing all these 5 annotations in the Java class, we can write one simple annotation that is called @data. So if you write @data, which is equal to all the above 5 annotations. For example, you want only setter methods for your variables, then use only setter annotation. For example, you want to use only toString method for your variables, then write only toString. If you want setter methods, getter methods, no args constructor, toString method, equals and hash code methods, then you can go for @data. Along with these things, Lombok provided few more annotations also. Let us understand what are those annotations now. It provided an annotation called @required args constructor also. So if you want to use a constructor with specific parameters, then you can go for required args constructor. Okay, suppose if you want a constructor with all the variables in the class, then you can use an annotation called all args constructor. All args constructor. So here no args constructor, required args constructor, all args constructor is also available. Depends on the requirement, we can use them. When you use data, you will get by default no args constructor. And along with this, Lombok provided one annotation called @slf4j. If you want to create logging in your application, earlier we used to get the logger object, logger factory.getLogger to generate the log messages. Now you no need to create the logger object manually. If you add slf4j annotation, logger object will be available for your class. You can directly generate the log messages. And the next one, here it provided one more annotation called @sneaky throws. So if you want to handle some checked exceptions in the Java method, we are going to use throws keyword. Instead of writing the throws keyword in the Java method, you can use one annotation called @sneaky throws. So if you use @sneaky throws, it is going to ignore checked exceptions available in our Java method. So like this, Lombok provided several annotations. Setter annotation to generate the setter methods. Getter annotation to generate the getter methods for the variables. No args constructor to generate default constructor for the Java class. toString method to generate toString method for the class. Equals and hash code to generate equals method and hash code method for our Java class. Data, one annotation, data, very powerful annotation that is equal to all the above annotations. Instead of writing 5 annotations, you can write one simple annotation called @data. And required args constructor. I have 10 variables in the class, but I want a constructor with only 3 variables. Then you can go for required args constructor. And all args constructor. I want a constructor with all the variables as arguments. And I want to implement logging, then we can go for slf4j annotation. I want to ignore checked exceptions occurring in my Java method, like file not found exception and SQL exceptions. Those kind of exceptions we can ignore by using one annotation called @sneaky throws annotation. I hope you got the clarity. What are the annotations available in the Lombok and what is the purpose of these annotations? So Lombok is a Java library that is used to avoid boilerplate code in the Java classes by generating that code automatically. So by using these annotations, we can generate the boilerplate code instead of we are writing. And now we will see how to set up this project Lombok in our IDE. That is very important. So once we have done the setup, I will show you some examples also with the project Lombok. Let us see how to set up the Lombok.
We need to download Project Lombok jar file from the website, that is projectlombok.org. So let's go to a website whose name is projectlombok.org. Here we can find a option called download, last option in the menu. Then we can execute a command, that is java space -jar space jar file name. This command we can execute by using command prompt. I'm double clicking on this jar file. Here it is giving this window for us. By default, it will search for IDEs which are installed in the system to add Lombok plugin to our IDE. Even if it is not able to scan for the IDEs, we no need to worry, because we can specify that IDE's location manually by using specify location option. Now click on this option, go to the folder where we have our IDEs. Now I am going to my STS IDE folder, STS. Here I have a file with a name called sts.exe. Select that, and here we have option called install or update. Let me click on this install or update. So it is giving a message, installation successful. Now how can we verify that? Go to our IDE folder, STS. This is the file which I have selected for our IDE. Here you can see that the jar is added, lombok.jar. That means this lombok.jar plugin is added to our Spring Tool Suite IDE.
Now let us see how to use this Project Lombok by taking one Spring Boot application. I'm creating one new Spring Boot project. I'm creating this project by using Maven as a build tool. Then group ID, you can give anything. I'm giving here in.ashok IT and package name in.ashok IT. Click on next. Here you can select dependencies. Project Lombok we already installed in the IDE. Now we need to add that Lombok dependency in our pom.xml. So let us search for Lombok here. Yeah, it is a developer tool. I'm adding this project Lombok. Okay, see here the tooltip also saying that it is a library which helps to reduce boilerplate code in our application. Select the dependency, next, and finish. Yeah guys, now you can see our application got created. Now you can go to the pom.xml file. Now you can see that in the pom.xml file, we have added Lombok dependency. Group ID org.project Lombok, artifact ID is Lombok. Now let me create one Java class and let me show you how Lombok annotations we can use in this Java class. I'm creating a class with a name called person. Now inside this person class, let me take few variables guys. So I'm taking private integer ID and private string name, private string email, private string password, okay, private string gender, like this. Now if I want to write setters getters for these variables, you see generate setters and getters. How many lines of code we need to write to generate the setters and getters for these variables? Only for setters and getters we are writing 40 lines of code. Then what about a constructor? What about a toString method? What about a hash code method? So that is the reason it is not recommended to write like this. And suppose if I change a variable name, then I need to change the setter methods and getter methods also. To avoid all these problems, we can use
Lombok provided annotations here. Now let us see how to use those Lombok annotations. In order to generate setter methods for these variables, we can simply use setter annotation, which is provided by Project Lombok. I'm importing that package. Now, if you want getter methods, and you can write a annotation called @getter annotation. Setter and getter. If you want only setter methods, one annotation. If you want only one getter methods, then that annotation. You can see, you can expand outline of the class, and you can see getter methods available, setter methods available for the variables. If I remove these two annotations from here, now only the variables available in the class, methods are not available. So Lombok is generating the code for our variables at the compilation time only. So now instead of writing these two annotations, if I write a annotation called @data annotation, now you can see the constructor is available, getter methods available, setter methods available, hash code method is available, equals method available, toString method is also available. Instead of writing multiple annotations, you can write one annotation called @data. And one more thing, suppose if you are writing any Java method which is having some checked exception, like for example, public void m1. So here, if I am writing driver manager dot get connection, okay, some parameters we are going to pass. Now, here if you observe, driver manager dot get connection method is giving SQL exception, unhandled exception. Earlier, what we used to do? Earlier, we used to write throws keyword to ignore this exception. But now, instead of writing this throws keyword, simply we can use one annotation called sneaky throws annotation, which is given by Project Lombok. So to ignore checked exceptions, earlier we used throws keyword, now we can use sneaky throws annotation. And if you want to generate logging in our application, simply you can write one annotation called @slf for j annotation. So then you will get the logger object for your method. Then simply you can write log.debug. This is debug message. Instead of you are getting logger object using logger factory, you can simply use SLF for the annotation in order to generate the log messages. And we are having an annotation called @builder also. So if you want to implement builder design pattern to create the objects for the classes, then you can use this builder annotation. If you want all args constructor, you can go for all args constructor. Then if you want to no args constructor, no args constructor. So I hope you got the clarity how to work with this Lombok. Okay, so after these annotations are added, you can verify Lombok is generating the code or not. After installing the Lombok dependency in our IDE, you need to restart the IDE, then you can use these annotations to generate the boilerplate code for our Java classes.
And thank you guys. Thank you for watching this Project Lombok video. And please share your opinion as a comment on this video. And please like this video and share with your friends also. And don't forget to subscribe to get more updates from Ashok IT. Thank you.